Today we will be solving two-step equations. And so let's take a look at our first problem here. And it says that x plus 3, and then we've got the division sign. So it's being divided by 4 equals 10. So when we're solving one of these equations, what we want to do first is undo the parts that are being manipulating the variable x. So for instance, addition of 3 is manipulating x here. 4 being divided by 4 is also manipulating it. So what we want to do is undo some of that stuff. And so the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to undo some division. Now the reason is that this x plus 3, the whole thing is being divided by 4. And so since the whole thing's being divided by 4, it's like x plus 3 is in parentheses. And so that's why I'm going to end up undoing that division first so that I can get the x plus 3 by itself. So I undo it by multiplying by 4. And what that does is it cancels out the 4 on the left-hand side. So I'm only left with that x plus 3. And then this all equals 40. And so from this point, I can go ahead and subtract the 3 from all sides, and it leaves me with the value of x. And so here I have x equals 37. Looking at our next problem, looks very similar to that. I'm going to undo this division of 3 because the 2x minus 1 is all being divided by 3. So in order to get that x, to get to that x, I need to undo this division first in this case. This looks like a negative 15 or negative 5 here, so we're going to call this one negative 15 equals 2x minus 1. So my next step is to now undo this subtraction. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides because I want to isolate x. And so I do that by adding 1. I'm left with 2x equals negative 14. So I have another step here. I'm going to divide by 2, and that leaves me with x equals, and then I've got negative 7. Well, looking at the next problem, it says that 2a minus 7 equals negative 9. So I'm going to end up adding 7 to both sides. Now when they're opposite signs, it means I need to subtract. And so I'm left still with that 2a, but now it equals negative 2. So from this point, I divide by 2, and I get my answer. A equals negative 1. Well, looking at the next problem, I've got a decimal in front of the variable, so the coefficient's a decimal, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But first I need to undo the positive 3, so to undo it I'm going to take 3 away from both sides. So now I have 25/100 x equals 4. So from this point I'm going to divide by 25/100, and when you do that you got to move that decimal point in the divisor over until it becomes a whole number. So 1, 2 spaces. That means I got to add 2 zeros to the 4. So move the decimal over 2 spaces and then set up the division problem. 25 into 400. Well, 25 goes into 40 just one time, and that leaves me with 15 left over. So I bring down that 0. And think of quarters. How many quarters make $1.50? Well, that would be 6. So let's go ahead and put the 6 in there in the quotient and do the multiplication. 6 times 25 is 150. So I end up with a remainder of 0. So 16 is the answer there. Next one, I'm going to go ahead and undo the addition again. Subtract the 4 from both sides. Leaves me with this fraction as the coefficient. 2/5 x equals, now the same sign here, so I end up having to add. And it'll go further in the negative. So if you look at that on a number line, here's negative 2, here's 0, we'll say. I'm taking 4 away. Well, when you take numbers away, you go to the left. We take positives away, so I'm going 4 spaces to the left. So that's negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. So if I take 4 away, I go to the left. So from this point, I need to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by 5/2 to get those 5's to cancel, those 2's to cancel, and do the same thing over on the other side. So treat that negative 6 as a fraction, negative 6 over 1. Look for the cross canceling. 2 goes into 6 3 times. Multiply cross, and we get our answer. X equals negative 15. Well, the last one here, I'm going to subtract that 1 3/10 from both sides first. So when I do that, I'm I'm left with this negative 3. Now that's a common mistake, is people forget to bring down that sign. Bring down that minus 3x, and this all equals 4 4/10. So now we're ready to solve by doing some division. Divide by negative 3. So off to the side, 3 into 4 4/10. Now I know the answer is negative because I'm dividing a negative into a positive. So 3 goes into 4 one time with a 1 left over. Bring that decimal point straight up. 3 into 14 goes 4 times with 2 left over. So I have to add that 0 and then work again. 3 times 6 makes 18. And notice how you're getting 2 left over again. So you're always going to have that 6 repeating. So you just put a line on top of that. So negative 1 and 4, 6 repeating. So the 6 repeats. So negative 1.46, and the 6 repeats. Well, those are the problems, or similar problems, to what you see on tonight's homework. Good luck.